Yay, nobody changed it to taco. I'm happy. All right, next question. Who here is it like their first or like second class? Like they're like new. You're like, I don't really know what's going on. Oh, wow. Nice. We got a lot of new people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super happy to see you guys here. So I'll let you know, my name is Jenny. I am a volunteer interpreter and teacher here in the Helping Hands community, and it's super awesome to see all you guys here. My teaching style is I'm really open to questions. So if you have a question at any time, just raise your hand. If you don't have hands, like, woo, go like that, and I'll call on you, and it's fine. I totally want you guys to feel like you can ask me any question at all. There's no stupid questions about anything. But yeah, so because we have a lot of new people this class, I think we should start off with some basics. And for those people who are not new, this is going to be a review. So all of you guys should be showing me that you already know. So you guys are gonna be like, this is easy. Like, show me, all right? So I'm gonna put these up, and for those new people, you're gonna be copying me, and for all the people who already know, you should be showing me. Does that sound good? All right. We'll just start off with the real basic stuff, and we'll work up. So this one, of course, the official sign for hello, it's kind of like a salute. Like this from your head, but it's totally okay to just wave. Hello, hi. This is casual. You won't confuse anyone. Hello, hi. Maybe two hands. If you're saying hello to a lot of people, you might see this. Hello, hello, hello. This is like greeting a whole bunch of people. Hi, 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 hi. So if I'm saying hello to all you guys, I'm gonna do that. Bye. So this is also, you could just wave, but there is an official sign for bye. And you're closing just your 4 fingers like this. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. But again, if you're casual, you could just wave. Bye. Love you. Bye. It's totally fine. You could do 2 hands. Bye-bye. Saying bye to a lot of people. All right, now this one, you're going to see this a lot. How? There's a lot of versions, but the one that I like is you're going to use 2 relaxed hands, starting like this and twisting down. So I'll show you from the side, starting this way, and then you twist down. You're just twisting your hands. You're not going how. You're not, it's not this. It's just your wrists are rotating. You might also see with thumbs, and you can only twist one, like this. How. That's fine too. How. And then if you want to ask them how they are, all I do say how, and then point. How are you? Because there's no words like are, is, am. We're not using those. So we just pluck them out of the sentence and throw them out. And when I'm teaching you guys is PSE. And what that is it's a specific type of grammatical structure that is most commonly used by, it's about 90% of deaf people use PSE, and pretty much all of our community here uses PSE. And all that is that imagine an English sentence in front of you, and you're kind of picking out all the unneeded words and just throwing them out. So in this context, in an English sentence, you'd say, how are you? But we're just going to take out that R word. We're just going to say, how you? And in sign, we're going to interpret that as, how are you? Does that make sense? Right, so now we know how to say, hey, how are you? But now we got to know how to say the answers to that. So, good. You're starting on your mouth or your chin area, bringing it down to that open hand. Good. And maybe you're not so good if you're having a bad day. It starts the same, but you're going to twist it down. I think if this is something bad on your hand, you don't like it. You're pushing it away. Bad. Or it doesn't have to go on this hand. You could just do this. Bad. Maybe you're shaking your head no, because it's really bad. Bad. So it could either be on the air or on your hand. All right, so now let's do a little exercise. I'm going to ask you guys, and also fine. We'll teach this one as well. Fine. On your chest, right in the middle of your chest, an open hand, just like that. Fine. Or you can go forward like this. Fine. Or just fine. Yep. Okay. So if I'm going to ask you guys, how are you? What are you going to show me? Are you good? Are you bad? You good? You're good, good, fine. You're great! Woo! I didn't see any bads. That's good. All right, so we'll do a few more basic level stuff, and then we'll kind of go up to the higher. And again, if you guys have any questions at any time, you can feel free to ask me. All right, next one is nice. So this is like this. You're just gonna really slowly glide your hand on your other hand, like a nice feeling of someone petting your hand. It's nice, nice, right? And then if we want to say meet, excuse me, one time. You have two people here, and they come together to meet. One person, meet. Meet. And again, remember how you say you? You just point. Point at this person. So if we're going to use PSE, then we're going to say nice to meet you. I'll go through that one more time. I'll show you from another angle. Nice. That same soft motion. Meet. And then you're pointing to the person. But another version that's going to be used is it's called directional. So instead of using the pronoun of you, we're just going to show the person meeting us by this is us and they're meeting us, or we're meeting them. So it's going to be a more directional meeting. Say nice to meet you. And that's also correct. So you could say either nice to meet you or nice to meet you. What's up? You have a question?
I know that in ASL, typically you go with the dominant hand is the one that moves. In signs where there's one hand still and one hand moving. Does it matter, like when you're doing the directional one, does it matter which hand is in front? Like if I'm right-handed and I do the right hand going in front and being the other person, is that, like, is there a correct or incorrect for that?
Yeah, so what I'd say is it depends on what you're trying to convey. So if I'm saying I met Crow, then I'm going to have me coming to Crow, right? But then if I'm saying Crow met me, then I'm going to have him coming towards me. So it's going to be context. So if they're coming to meet me or if I'm coming to meet them, it's going to be changing based on that. So I'd say it really depends on the context, but also you'll kind of get a feel for what's more comfortable for me. So for me, I'm noticing it's more comfortable for my right hand to move. I'm right-handed. But if it's more comfortable for you the other way, I'd say more likely, though, it's going to come down to context. Lots of people coming at you. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's see. Few more. Do you guys want to learn question words? Is that a good one to go over? I feel like that's a great one, even if you do know them. It's good to kind of review that. So let's go over those. So we already know how, right? So then what if we want to ask who? We're going to start with either an L hand or pointed finger. Either of these work. Right underneath your chin, and you're going to wiggle your pointer finger, just like that. Who? In real life, you're going to be using your facial gestures like this to kind of move your eyebrows up and down to be like, huh. But in VR, we're going to be tilting our head, using our body language to show a question. Huh? Like that. Huh? What? Who? The next one is when. So this is either going to be upwards, like this, or sideways, like this. And the way that you can remember this is the arm going all the way around the clock one time. So here's the middle of the clock, and it's going all the way around. When. Now, why? So there's two variations of this. It's either going to be your middle finger kind of wiggling, or it's going to be down to a Y hand. So if you don't have a Y hand, then you could just be using a thumb, or you could be using a rock and roll symbol. So I like to use my thumb. And you're going to start with an open hand next to your head and then pull it down. Why? Or if you're just wiggling your middle finger, you're going to be doing that. Why? Next one is what? What? Well, what? You're tilting your head. Huh? Just kind of moving your arms like that. Another variation is like this, but you can have an open hand and a pointed finger. What? Huh? What's going on? Next one is where. You're going to have a pointed finger right next to your side of your head and you're wiggling it. Huh? Where? Where is it? Is it over there? Huh. And last but not least is which. We're going to be having 2 thumbs up, and we're going to compare the 2. Which one do I want? Do I want this one? Do I want this one? Just, there's 2 things, up and down. Which one? Does that make sense? Any questions about anything? Can deaf people drive? Yes, they can. What's up, Crow? Okay, so he's reminding me there's another variation, an older sign for who, that I never use, so I forgot it. And it's this. It's a circle around your lip or chin area. Who. So this is an old version of who. Yeah. Thank you. Forgot. So yeah, who? Or who? All right. Do you guys want to move on? Do you want a little bit of a break for questions? Do you want culture discussion? Anything? You guys feeling like anything? Culture? Shaw's like, culture! I want culture! All right, let's teach them deaf culture. Yeah, and this is the same for culture, by the way. You're going to hear some background noise. Sorry about that. So this culture is about people. So this is going to be a person, and you're surrounding the person with culture, which is a C hand. Culture. And deaf culture is so amazing, and it's incredible, and that's why I always want to teach it, because it's the biggest part of the language. You can't learn the language without the culture. It's just super important. So I was talking with Joe earlier, and he said maybe we should discuss some different deaf schools. So there's two ways to sign deaf schools. You can either sign deaf or school, and there's another way where I'm going to ask you to come up because it needs eye hands, and I can't do this. Can you show? Yeah. Yeah. So this is like this is another way to say deaf school, like deaf and college maybe, or usually if there's dorms there, then you would be saying I like living there, and it's 2 eye hands, and you go like that, or just deaf school. And so one of the most famous deaf school, and it's actually college, is Gallaudet, and that's right under Virginia in DC. And it has had so many famous deaf people go there because it's America's best deaf hard of hearing and interpreting college. And it's just, if you go to Gallaudet, that's like the equivalent of like Harvard, essentially. Like, it's like you see that, you're like, whoa, like that's impressive, like Gallaudet. So if you look like some famous actors like Nal DeMarco, if you know him, he was the first deaf person to win Dancing with the Stars. He went to Gallaudet. And a bunch of other really influential deaf people and advocates have gone to Gallaudet, and it's just super looked up on, and it's an honor to go to Gallaudet. So if you ever hear people talking about Gallaudet, you're like, oh wow, you're like, I know, that's just the best college. And it was established a really long time ago. I can't remember the exact date, but it was established super long ago, and they had deaf and blind kids, and it eventually evolved into a college, which it now stands today, and also has dorms and cultural development programs, and it's just an amazing school, and it just really highlights just the incredible amounts of resources that deaf students do have. And deaf colleges are a huge thing, not only colleges, but also high schools, middle schools, and everything else in between. There are a lot of resources for deaf children to go to. But at the same time, it is a little hard. And there were a few moments a few years ago where there was a problem where a lot of deaf schools were being shut down. And deaf people had to fight for that, to have that right to continue to have the education that they deserved. So I think that's why it's another really big part of deaf culture to have schools, to have the right to go to school, to have the right to education. And even further back when deaf children were denied education. And now building up and becoming stronger and having all of these resources available just all across America. It's really incredible to see. Some other things is that there's different types of deaf schools. So sometimes it's called mainstream school. And what that means is it's not just for deaf children, it's also hearing people. So it's hearing, hard of hearing, special needs, deaf and blind, whatever. It's all encapsulated. And that can mean different things. It could either mean they have specific classes for deaf children, or it can mean it's a hearing school, but they have interpreters on site and they'd stand in the front of the class and they'd be signing as the hearing teacher is speaking. And this can be a little bit challenging for deaf children because, so think about if you're a hearing person, right? The teacher is talking and you're taking notes. You could look up at the board, but then you could still hear the teacher talking. But a deaf child can't do that. They need to continuously look up at the interpreter and then back down. So when sometimes deaf children are forced into a hearing school with an interpreter, and it can be very damaging for them because they're kind of falling behind as all the other hearing kids are getting extra help, essentially. So that's why it's really important to know that there are many, many different ways that a deaf kid can get education. And I think it's really important to inform families with deaf children that usually the best option is to go to a deaf school. And not only are they going to get the best education that they can, they're also going to get this cultural development part of being surrounded by deaf people and learning the history, learning the culture and the language. And from all of my personal deaf community that I've spoken with, I want to say most of them agree that deaf schooling is, of course, a better option for deaf kids, but you have to find the right one because, of course, just like any other school, sometimes the education isn't the best. It's just the same. So it is a bit of an iffy topic, but all in all, it's just an incredible, amazing part of deaf culture to see all the different schools and the different ways that children are able to get educated, and it's just awesome. I just love it so much. So yeah, if you ever hear Gallaudet, it's amazing. I really recommend just looking into it, researching, and hearing all about it, because especially if you want to become an interpreter, it's really good to look into schools like that have just incredible education. And yeah, it's a really great part of deaf culture. Yeah, do you guys have any questions? It doesn't have to be about what I just said. It could be about anything at all. No?
I just want to. You mentioned, can deaf people drive? Can you elaborate on that?
It's a joke because a lot of people say, "Oh, deaf people can't drive," but they can.
But they can? All right. What happens if they want to get pulled, if they're getting pulled over or something?
That's part of the reasons why police officers have sirens, as in the lights. Deaf people are able to see it in their mirrors and check, and they're much more vigilant in seeing lights, and they're like, oh, gotta pull over. But it does happen that if a police officer doesn't know that, oh, this person's deaf, they can interpret them not pulling over as that they're trying to get away. So yeah, that does happen. But yeah, the main way is through the lights. They're able to notice.
Thank you.
And did you say you wanted to know the sign for drive? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the sign for drive.
Yeah, so the sign for car is this. So it's just you have your steering wheel and you're driving. And if you're saying drive as in drive to, you're going to go like this. You have your steering wheel here and you're driving to. You're showing that the vehicle move. Driving, drive to. Does that make sense? Heck yeah. Any other questions? Is it a hand raise? No, just someone itching their head. Are you guys sleepy today? Sleepiness gets punished. A little bit sleepy. Let's see, do you have a question, Mix? I'm just saying hello? Okay. Alright, well, do you guys want to go over some more words? Or what else do you want to discuss? Yeah, some more words? More words? Alright, cool. Let's do... I'm just looking through. I'll just kind of go through different ones. All right, medicine. So if you have index, it's going to be your middle finger down, bent down, and it's going to be on your open palm, and you're going to kind of wiggle it. So I use my rock and roll gesture because I don't have index. But yeah, if you do have index, I'll just make sure you can understand. You're gonna have that middle finger down, and you just kind of teeter totter basically on your open hand. Medicine. I think of it like there's a singular pill, and you're kind of showing it with that one finger. So health. There's different variations. Healthy is the same as strong. You're kind of bringing up from your chest area strong or healthy. I'm healthy. I have health. But if you want to say health, like that's bad for your health, it's going to be with 2 H hands, and you go straight down like this. Health. Health. So you're like smoking is bad for your health. Health. But you could also say like I am healthy. I have good health. I am strong. Does that make sense? So break, this is a good one. Imagine you have a stick in your hand, you snap it. Break. Break. You're breaking it. But if you're talking about break as in like lunch break or break like spring break, it's going to be like this. This is like a break in time. You're breaking your fingers like this. Break. Break. Or this is like not vacation. I struggle to find the words in English for this word. But it's like this is like a break. Like, oh, I'm off my work. I'm taking a break. It's off, and you just have your like a holiday, a vacation in a way. It could be used that. Insult. Insult. And a good way to remember this is another word for insult is jab. Like, oh, I'm just taking a jab at you, and it kind of looks like you're like poking at somebody or like jabbing at somebody. Insulting. Insult. If you're insulting yourself, insult myself. Yeah. Make 2 fists on top of one another, and you're twisting both of them. Make. 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 Find. It could either be with a closed hand or with an F hand, and you're just going to find it. So here's like a box. You're picking it up. Find. Find. Put all these things in this. Which one am I going to find? This one. Let's see. Complicated. You have just so many things that it's so complicated. It's just all in front of your face. Like, whoa. I lagged. Let's see. Socialize. You have 2 thumbs, and it's like a bunch of people mingling together. Or it could also be with open hands like this. Socialize. So like hang out. Do you want to go hang out? Or social, anything like that. Event. This is, again, your middle fingers are going to be bent down. Event. Event. Like this. 2 times. Event.
Jenny.
What's up?
With signs that like you have to show both of like a certain finger bent, do you have to do it on both hands, or just like you just do it on one and then you do it with both hands and it's kind of context?
It's fine for VR, just like putting one down. It'd be understood.
So like if I did this, it would be okay.
Yeah, I'd understood. But if the person is like, what? Then you could be like, oh, it's both of these are bent.
It's both. So you can then you can kind of
yeah, but it's not needed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Borrow. Borrow. If you're borrowing a pencil or whatever, you have something, you get it back. Borrow. 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 Army. Army, 2 A hands. It's like you're holding a gun to your chest. Army. Army. Dangerous. This is again with thumbs going front. I've also seen a variation more like this. I do it like this. Danger. Dangerous. Sweetheart. It's kind of hard for me with my tracking, but it's like they're together on your heart. Yeah. Cough. Kind of like you're hitting your chest to like cough more. And then sneeze. Like this. You have a pointer finger underneath your nose, trying to stop the sneeze. Like that. And then someone sneezes, what do you say? Bless you. Bless you. Or bless you. Like you do a cross over them. Bless you. Bless you. Yeah. Do you have a question? You're good. Hiccup. Hiccup? Hiccup? Yeah, hiccup. Hiccup, like in your chest or throat area, or I've seen hiccup. Or that's more like burp. Burp is like that, yeah. So burp is with more like open hand on your mouth or like chin area, and then hiccup is like here. That's what it's gonna be like. You're like bouncing your whoop, whoop. Yeah, alright. Good. Do you guys have any more words that you want to know? Good? Yeah, what's up? Someone in Discord wants to know 2 signs. Speech and conversation. So speech can be different depending on context. So if you're talking about speech as in like I'm receiving speech therapy, I learned speech. There's also a version where you have 2 bent hands and you're doing a circular motion on your lips like this. Speech. I use this more, like I said, like speech therapy, learning speech, struggling with speech. This is like a noun usually. But speech in a few other more commonly used contexts would just be this. This is more of a VR sign, but it makes sense. Speech, like this. And then speak is, or like talk, you could say that, yeah. And then conversation is going to be with 2 C hands, like this. 2 people are talking back and forth. They're having a conversation. I'll start from the side. Conversation, conversate. Or a conversation or chatting. You could do this, chat, like speaking with one another. Like that. Does that make sense? Heck yeah. Any other questions? Or yeah, or that. You could also do this. Yeah, what's up?
How do you say panic attack?
Panic attack? So panic is going to be with a P hand, and then you're going to have you're wiggling both P's like right up around your head area. Panic. This is emergency with an E hand, so it's similar to that, but with a P. And then attack. So this is a person, and attack is like you're hitting and it comes back. Attack. So panic, attack. Panic attack. Or anxiety attack, that's another one. Anxiety attack. Anxiety. What's up, Extra?
Could this be another sign for anxiety, or is this more like anxious?
So this is scared. This is scared. Like this is fear or scared.
But what about when you just start it like there and then you shake it rather than
this
doing
is nervous. This is nervous. If you're doing your hands in front of you, this is nervous. Like this. Another sign like this would be for anxiety or stress. Is you're showing kind of like you can't stand up straight. Like you're so nervous that your legs are wiggling. So this is one is still, the other is wiggling. This is a bit of an older sign. I don't use that very often. But yeah, this could also mean stress. This one as well. Stress. Yeah. There you go. So yeah, anxiety, stress, nervousness. Yeah. Let's see, any other questions? Hello, you have a question. No. Okay, you guys want to rock, paper, scissors it out? There you go.
Go rock, paper, scissors. No. I saw both of you at the same exact time.
Don't do the whole, oh no, you go. Oh no, you go. You gotta rock, paper, scissors this out. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot. None of this rock business. Come on. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Hey, that's a rock. You win. Come on, Amparo. You can go after Sha. Dislocate? As in like a medical term? I do have a feeling that it would be similar to that. I'm not well adversed in medical terms, so I want to look it up just to make sure I'm telling you right. I know a few medical terms, but I'm not a doctor. So 1 second. I have a guess, but I don't want to tell you wrong.
That's all right. Never with the easy questions with me.
Yep, that was my guess. You pretty much had it spot on. So, when we're talking about dislocation, it's about the joint, and when it's an actual joint, you're going to think of your fist being the joint, and then the surrounding, I guess, tissue around it, and then when it's dislocated, you're just taking it out. It's not in there anymore. So, and depending on, I guess, the severity of the dislocation, because I know also it could be a twist, like it's still in it, but it's out. So it could be depending on if it was dislocated this way or whatever. But yeah, the main gist is that you have the joint and it's coming out of the joint. Yeah, so you pretty much had it. Yeah. I only know a few like medical signs for sure that I've like had experience with when I'm working with deaf people. But yeah, I don't know. I've never had to sign that before. So yeah, I'll remember that. And now, Sha, you can go. Eventually? I sign eventually like this, like will. Just like, this kind of means like far in the future. Just like this means really far before. This is like eventually, yeah. But I see. For event, really? I've never seen that used before in that context. This is event. I can see why someone would say that, but unless it's a deaf person, I'm gonna say that that is wrong because I've never seen that used before. Yeah, I've always used this. Or if it's like really, really far, it's like way out there. Yeah. Or another context, if it's like eventually it did happen. This is like since, or like it's been a while, but eventually it happened. This is like past context. It's coming to it. It eventually happened. Yeah. But in the forward context, you're going to be using that. Yeah. Good question. Any other questions at all? You got one? What's up? No, okay, so I see what you mean. So Chelsea said, I want to ask a question about the sign for socializing. Is that depending on how many people there are? So that's a really good question. This has nothing to do with if the difference between this and this is just preference. It has nothing to do with how many people. If it's you and me, Chelsea, if we're hanging out, I could use this. If it's all of the class hanging out, I could use this. Whatever. It's whatever I feel like. The main thing is I also think of it as like mingling. That's another term for like getting to know one another or like hanging out. And it's just kind of like you're mixing between each other. But yeah, it doesn't matter how many people. That was a good question though. Thank you. Do you have a question mostly? Adult. It's an A hand. An A. Or adult, just like a taller person. Yeah. Adult. Adult. Child or kid. Under your nose. You wiggle it. Good. And then children. A lot of heads, and you're like, pat, 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 pat. I will pat your head. Yeah. Deaf children I work with. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions or topics you want to discuss? You got one, Steph? What's up? Yes, good idea. So Steph said I should explain name signs for the new people, and yes. That's also part of deaf culture. That's super good to know. So I'll start off. What is a name sign? Like, what is that? Name sign, huh? So let me give you an example. Shawar machine got a super long name, and if I want to tell somebody, oh, I was hanging out with Shawar machine, I'm gonna have to be like, Shawar machine. It's super long. Oh my god, this is gonna be broke. My wrist is gonna be broken by the end of this. Oh god. So you know what I'm gonna do? We are gonna do something called having a sign name. To my knowledge, you don't have one. So let's use Crow as an example. So he is deaf, and he has a name sign because he was able to make it, or maybe your parents gave you your sign name, I don't know. So because he also has a very long name, instead of fingerspelling his name, he is given a name that sort of represents him as a person. So I think it was Crow 7, right? I forgot yours. Yeah, Tommy. Yeah, so in real life he has a T hand, and it's on his forehead, right? And for him, that's what represents him as a person. And so for me, my name is Jenny, and it's with laugh. It's a J hand, and it's with laugh because I laugh all the time. I'm a very giggly person, so I have laugh or laughter. Let's see some other ones that I can think of. Max, he's our French deaf teacher. His name is with eyes because when he was born, he had a green eye and a blue eye. So his parents noticed that and gave him the sign name of eyes. Alex, she has a hand on her cheek because it means dimples, because when she smiles, she has dimples. Papa T, he's very tall, so he's got a sign name with tall because he's way up there, he's tall, right? So depending on, it could either be about physical appearance, personality, something you notice, whatever. And a deaf or hard of hearing person gives that to you. No hearing person is allowed to make up their sign name. That is exclusively for deaf and hard of hearing people, and that's what makes it such an honor when you get one. Because when you're given one, that means you've been accepted in the community and seen as someone who essentially deserves a sign name. And it's a really great moment when you have one. And that could be your label, that's your identification. Some common questions that I have about sign names. Number one, can I change my sign name if I don't like it anymore? So if you're a hearing person, you can't change it. But you could choose to not use it anymore and say, I'm not going to use it anymore, which then opens up the opportunity to be given a new one. And then you could say, maybe if a deaf person, so an example, I'm hard of hearing, so I can give sign names. And I wanted to give a name sign of talkative, which is like yapper mouth, like blah, 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 because my friend is very loud and talkative. And I wanted to give that to her. I thought it was hilarious, but she looked at me and she's like, no, I don't want that. I'm not going to force her to accept my sign name that I give her. So yes, you are totally allowed to say no thank you if someone is giving you a sign name, and you're allowed to stop using it, but you're not allowed to just choose your own sign name. Please don't ask a deaf or hard of hearing person to give you a name sign. It is so annoying. Okay, wait, let me give you an example. If any of you guys here have glasses in real life, I'm sure you have been asked, can I try on your glasses? Please. And you're looking at this person like, no, dude. Why would I give you my glasses? These are my glasses, bro. It's basically the same thing. Sign names are very personal. It's very special, and it's something that should be given over time and with trust, not just yo, bro, I want a sign name. I know it's of good intention and of respect, but at the same time, I'm informing you, deaf and hard of hearing people have been asked that question so many times. times. So just, it's a respect thing to be patient and not ask about it, just be patient and accept it. You know, okay, if I'm getting a sign name today or in 1 year, I'm going to accept that, and that's fine. Some other questions I get about sign names pretty often is, are they the same for all communities? Like if I get a sign name in VR, is it going to be the same in real life? I'd say that depends. So for example, War Dragon, his sign name in game is literally War Dragon. So he would not go into a real life meetup and say, hello, my name is War Dragon. They look at him like, what? Or another example, someone got a sign name with Panda. And so it'd be very strange for them to meet somebody in real life and say, my name is Panda. So I'd say it depends. But at the same time, I got my sign name from a deaf person in VR, but it translates into real life. I could use laughing in real life as well. And I chose to say, yes, I'll use that in real life. But if, for example, you're given a sign name in VR and then you go into real life and you're given a separate one, it's up to you if you want to interchangeably. But without a VR, just focusing on the deaf community as a whole, it's going to be the same for all of them. So you're not going to meet a new deaf person and then they'll give you a new one and you use a different sign name with each person you meet. It's going to be a universal sign that you're going to be using with each person you meet. Let's see, is there any other question? I saw your hand and then I saw yours, so I'll take yours mixed. Sorry, I lagged a little bit. Could you restart again?
It's not a question. It's more of like a thing. So sorry. I'll try and sign this. Teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I wrote the second one. It's similar to the sign like for teasing, like to tease. So, but it's like curled. Yeah. But the other one I know really well. It's the T hand sign. I think it's the same actually as Crow's sign name.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Yeah, there's so the usual like rule is that it does have to do with the first letter of their name or sometimes their initials, so like first and last name, but not always. Like one person I met, this is their name sign. It's just like, and it means like an explosive personality. Like they're just so hyperactive and so excited that their personality barely stays inside their chest, and that's their name sign. It doesn't have to be with their letter. They could just be so such a big personality that they don't even need a letter. So that's kind of the rules, is that it usually has to do with the letter, but there's so many different name signs that it's impossible to go over every single one. But yeah, did you have a question too, Don? Donovan, sorry. Mm-hmm. Like that? Ah. Yeah. So if you want to use that both in VR or in real life, it depends. I'd say it depends if your real life name starts with a D. So like my real life name doesn't start with a J. So I change it. It's still with laugh, but it's with my real life initial. So if your name starts with a D, then I'm like, yeah, totally use it. But I'd say it only gets iffy if it's like I said, like, oh, my name is Panda. Oh, my name is Dragon. Oh, my name is Rabbit or whatever, or Hamburger. I met somebody named Hamburger and they were given a sign name to do with hamburger. I'm like, please don't introduce yourself as Hamburger in real life. So it really depends. But yeah, for you, that's just more of an expressive name. And of course, I'm not like a dictator. Like, I'm not trying to say you get this right and you get this right, but I'm just informing you that deaf people probably will look at you funny if you introduce yourself as Bunny Rabbit Jr. or something, which is why just be a little bit conscious of what you think would be okay and what's not, you know. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take one or two more questions and then we'll go ahead and... Did you have one, Taito? Yeah, go ahead and come forward. Mm-mm. So are you asking if it's okay to ask a deaf person, can I interpret for you? Is that what you're saying? Kind of? Yeah. What's the best way to ask? So I'd say that also depends on your skill level. But I'm trying to think of a good way to word this. So, again, I'm trying to think how to say this. So I'd say it depends. So, like, in real life, if you see a deaf person and they're really struggling, like they're trying to communicate something, but this person is not understanding, and you know that you do have enough skill and knowledge of whatever is happening in the situation to be able to help, then maybe just say, like, hey, I know a tiny bit of sign. Do you need some help? Not force yourself to be like, I'm going to interpret for you. I am going to save you, poor deaf person. I am here for you. Like, they're gonna look at you like, bro, like, I'm just trying to order at McDonald's. Like, you know, and also understand if they tell you, like, oh, no, I'm fine. You know, don't be offended by that. It's just, if a deaf person doesn't need your help, they're gonna tell you, I don't need your help right now. But yeah, I'd see if a deaf person is fine, if they're ordering fine, if they're having a good time, you don't need to come up to them and be like, hey, I'm going to interpret for you. They'll probably be like, I'm good, thank you. But in context of VR, I'd say, again, it's context. Does it look like this person is having a bit of trouble communicating? Does it look like they're feeling a little awkward? Does it look like they're feeling left out of a conversation? And if so, again, I would say, hey, like, I'm not fluent. I don't know all of ASL, but I'm here to help if you need me. Or a really good thing to do is if you notice a bunch of people are talking, and a deaf person is feeling a bit left out, just tap them, say hello, and say, oh, here's what they're talking about. They're talking about their favorite type of cake. What's your favorite type of cake? Just inviting them in a conversation, and that makes a difference. But yeah, I want to make sure that, again, you're not putting this label on yourself on your forehead, like, I am the interpreter and I am here to interpret, unless you've been approved as from a deaf person. But yeah, just totally saying, like, do you need help? Just saying that you need help. Do you want help? Do you understand? And just showing that effort, even if they don't need it, they're going to appreciate the effort. And let's say if they said, yes, like, I need an interpreter, and it gets to a level where you're not able to help anymore, ask, say, okay, this is too much. Is there somebody here who can help me help this person? And that's fine too. And again, that's going to be appreciated. So like, I'm always down to interpret if you need. A lot of our other more experienced signers, they're down to interpret if needed. And yeah, never feel bad to raise your hand and be like, I need help. Who can help me? Yeah. But yeah, I'd say the basis is context and just being appreciative and just saying, hey, you need help? You know, that goes a long way. Let's see, one more question, or unless there's no more questions, and we can go ahead. Oh, I'll take you, Crossfader, and then we'll go ahead and end the class. Excuse me, like this. This is also like, pardon me, excuse. This is also excuse, like, I have an excuse, and it's towards yourself. Yeah, like that. Pardon me, excuse me, sorry. It's a good one. All right, awesome. So thank you guys all for coming to the class, especially you new people. I hope you feel welcome. Make sure to join the Discord if you haven't. And let's go and take a picture. Woo!